Texas. Austin Hunter Rugby Facility. A beautiful day, picture-perfect day for rugby. Kit McConico, Justin Simmons with you here on T5 RDG. One match in the books. What a match it was. U.S. Trinity Texans coming back to score 26 consecutive points in the second half, taking a 26-20 victory over the San Marcos Grays. Now looking for our second match of the day, the Sharks and the Roses. The ladies taking the pitch. And Justin, you and I were speaking about this, and you were speaking to the technique of this, and you were really excited about this match.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be a technically sound game. You already saw it while they were warming up. I don't think we'll have some of the issues that might have plagued us in the first game. Although it was exciting, that ending, we did see a lot of sloppy play. The inability to hang on to the ball was a big concern for both of those squads in the prior match to this one. I don't think we'll have this issue with these two teams on the pitch here.
Teams taking the pitch. Sharks in the white tops, navy shorts, and the Red Sox going from left to right in the first 40 minutes. The Roses from Norman, Oklahoma in the red, the white, and the red. So both teams out, ready for the opening kick. Picture perfect day. Moments away from the start.
Yeah, Sharks based out of Houston, Texas. So having about a 2-hour drive to get here.
Yeah, the Sharks, quicker trip than their opponents from Norman, Oklahoma. Referee checks, make sure everything is on the up and up. Wind was a factor in the first match, but the wind has died down. Anticipated to be a factor here, but not nearly as much as it was early on. In fact, so much a factor in the first match, neither side able to score with the wind in their face.
No,
Both doing all their scoring with the wind at their back.
And that's why it was a tale of two halves, but the wind blowing in a completely different direction in this go-around.
Opening kick taken by the Sharks. Sharks of Houston Athletic, Oklahoma Roses, and the Sharks, oh my, looking quick down the side. Juliana Gardner all the way down. And a try on the first play. Gardner fields the opening kick, goes about 60 meters, able to dot it down, and early on it is 5-0 Houston Sharks.
Amazing. Just right off of that initial kick, she just picked up and she turned and ran. Not a soul in front of her. She was able to make that initial move, and then she was gone to the races after that. What a phenomenal try score to open up this match.
And wouldn't you know it, Juliana Gardner picks up the try to start things. The native of right here, the Austinite, former Middlebury College player, played up at Middlebury for 7th year as a player, and just beautiful work right there for the wing. Took it from the opening kick all the way down the far sideline, able to dot it down. Now the conversion,
we knew it was a bit
short, and it will be 5-0 Sharks early in this one.
Well, we knew it was going to be a difficult conversion because of the line, but you have to love the way, especially if you're a Houston fan, how they came out and just put the points on the board. Now the Roses, with their backs against the wall, so to speak, they're going to have to try to figure out a way to stay composed, and once they win back the ball, to continue with their game plan. Again, it's just a small snafu.
Small snafu. Opening play of the match, opening kickoff taken all the way back. Absolutely spectacular. Good start. Sharks able to field it on the far side. In the hands of Meredith Fraser. Fraser was a referee in last week's National Championships. Now played quickly. A good phases here. Sharks lose possession. Now going the other way. In the hands of the outside center, Houston. Houston still on her feet. Houston drugged down 5 meters from the try line. And this has been very intense early on. We mentioned the men's game taking that first 5 to 10 minutes to warm up. Not the case here with the women.
Well, you knew that Oklahoma was going to come back, the Roses, with a little bit more steam here because they let up those that easy try point to start this game off. So they really want to come back and even things up, which they just did.
They're knotted at 5 apiece. The try for the Roses. Can they take the lead with the conversion? Wind in their face. And this one taken very well, but not on line. Had the distance, but not between the uprights. So 5 apiece we stand early in this match.
Well, quick response from Oklahoma. It's been great individual effort here so far to start things off, and again, both teams really just starting to feel each other out to start this match off. We'll really delve into the technique for both teams here shortly.
Justin, we talked about the growth of rugby, one of the fastest growing sports in the country. You see the score line right there. Both teams able to dot it down for the try, neither able to convert for the 2 points after. The women's game absolutely exploding and a fantastic thing to see. We saw Texas A&M and Texas earlier in a women's sevens match. Great to see those collegiate ladies out here.
The game, see those two universities going at each other.
Yeah, just younger and younger, which is a wonderful thing for USA Rugby. Out here at the Huns facility, there will be a professional rugby team. Stadium being built right behind us as they are clearing away the mesquite and the hackberry, just east of downtown Austin. So pleased you could join us. T5RDG YouTube channel. Kit McConico, Justin Simmons with you. Second game, 3 on the day here on field number 1. There will also be 3 on the field at field 2 across the way. We will have those later, and 3 more matches tomorrow. That being said, a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. So pleased you could join us. The Roses looking dangerous again in the hands of Cates. Cates, the outside center, LaCades Houston, I should say. She's very impressive.
Houston making a nice pass there from the ground to keep the play alive. Now the ball back in favor of the Roses, and they continue on through this phase, and it's just going right up the middle of this Houston Athletic Club's team.
Yeah, Sadie Houston, the Oklahoma Sooner, still an undergraduate there in Norman. A lot of OU Sooners, current and former, as you might expect, on the Roses roster. Now the Sharks, unable to retain possession on the turf, back to the aforementioned Houston. Houston, oh, nice spin, but drugged down, I should say, impressively by Gina Stefano.
Yeah, that was great defense there to keep her bottled up.
Stefano, the fly half, another A&M product, is the native of Houston. Now the scrum half, Kristen Milosic hands it off as that is sent in to touch, but won't go. It was headed that way, but fielded in play.
Great job there to keep it alive, and now they're going on the counterattack. The Rose is able to cut it out.
Fisher giving chase, ultimately comes down with it, but only momentarily. Back with the Sharks.
In the middle of that tackle, she was able to rip the ball out, and that's why they have possession.
Sent out, oh, beautiful pass, cutting back in, able to get through the tackle, over the line, and dot it down for the try. We've seen scoring early and often in this, and it is 10-5 in favor of Houston. Justin, if our first men's match, if that was a bit of a stalemate early on, this is quite the opposite.
No, this has been a shootout early. Juliana Gardner, you have to give her huge props because that ball was going into touch. She was able to keep it alive by making the initial catch on the touchline, and that's what sparked that phase to where they were able to score that try.
Yeah, Gardner, the native Austinite, 2 tries in as many opportunities for Gardner. The conversion is up and through. So now a 7-point advantage, 12-5 in favor of the Sharks. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. If you miss a moment of this, chances are there are going to be points put on the board.
I was going to say you might miss a couple of tries in between that span if you get up to go get something to drink from the fridge right now. You might want to wait until halftime.
Indeed.
I'm trying to figure out what the Roses need to do here. You want to say something simple, like they just need to hang on to the ball. As they were playing good defense, they did win the ball back, and it was because they lost possession in the middle of a tackle is what really cost them there at the end. So again, just small snafus that are costing them here so far, and we'll see if they can get themselves back into it.
Sent back the other way by Savannah Campbell. Keeping things tight.
Good tackle, but the ruck a little late. They're still able to keep it.
Sharks electing to go to the far side. Into the hands of Tanya Ross. Good work, able to come up with a pass there, even though it was behind the intended recipient.
Yeah, Sharks keeps on going toward that left side of the field. They seem to have found an opening there that they're trying to expose.
Very impressive ball movement. The passing early in this one, no one holding on to it for more than a second or two. They are quickly receiving and offloading the pass.
You saw, even though they lost possession there for a split second, they were able to stay on top of the ball. And now Sharks really moving into the outside here.
Blair,
yeah, big play.
Cutting back through. Over the line, going through. Gina Stefano dots it down. And the Sharks add to their lead.
Wow, the fly half doing exactly that. Flying as soon as she took possession of the ball. Made a couple of cuts, and then it was off to the races for her. Not even close. And now what seemed to just be a little bit of a mismatch is really starting to look like it's going to turn ugly here as Houston able to get another quick try while going that direction.
Yeah, courtesy of the fly half, Gina Stefano. We mentioned the former A&M Aggie. Very impressive, accomplished sevens player with Atlantis and Star Sevens, along with the A&M Sevens as well. Now the conversion for the Sharks. Beautifully struck up and through. And the Sharks taking advantage. They scored their first try on the first play of the match. Took the opening kickoff 60 meters, I should say. And now a 14-point lead for the Sharks of Houston. Houston Athletic leading 19-5 over the Roses from Norman, Oklahoma early in this one.
Yeah, I know I had to bring my metric conversion sheet too. It can be a little difficult sometimes.
That's one thing about us Americans. All about the inches and the yards. Makes things difficult at times. Sharks back with it.
Oh, just got bowled over. Truck stick.
Oh, beautiful job on the far side, running through a trio of Roses tacklers.
Now, I told you we were going to see some physical play out here in this contest before we kicked off. You saw some right there. She just lowered the boom with the shoulder and continued to run through the would-be tackler.
And so far, this has been highly entertaining, to put it lightly. Scrum on the far side.
I think the one thing that most people would not expect is the pace of this game. It has been very fast-paced so far.
Absolute lightning. Neither team giving the other a chance to catch their breath. Scrum for the Roses. Sent in there by Kristen Milicic, the scrum half.
But like we saw in the first game, Kit, no lead is safe so far, and nothing's insurmountable. I think if the Roses can just continue to try to win back the ball, stay calm, and play their game, they can work their way back into this contest.
Another scrum as Milicic sends it back in. Milicic, not only an impressive rugby player, another Wellesley College product, also a member of the Oklahoma rowing club there in Norman. Houston again. Houston so deft, finds the teammate here to the near side. Green grass, able to shake the initial tackler and brought down by Gardner. So Gardner getting things done defensively as well for the Sharks.
Looks like there is a dive into the ruck, and this is going to belong to Houston now.
Good combination there between the outside center and the wing, Houston and Rexton. But as you mentioned, diving into the ruck, so back to the Sharks, and they will wisely send it into touch.
Well, it was Houston's forward line that really got the Roses on their heels because they were able to push back that scrum that the Roses did have. I thought they made something happen as they were able to change the perception of the field, if you will, as they moved over to the near side. And it looks like they had something going, but again, that infraction costing the Roses possession of the ball. Now it's a line out to Houston Athletic.
Yeah, a bit of confusion there, referring to Sadie Houston, the outside center for Oklahoma, as opposed to the Houston Athletic Sharks. Apologies. Now the Roses, a bit of steam.
Well, the ball is loose on the ground.
Picked up by the Sharks.
It's going to go against Houston Athletic.
The Houston Athletic committing the infraction, still trailing 19-5 are the Roses of Oklahoma. Bowling forward. Ashley Livingston that time. Right at the midfield stripe, moving quickly, swinging it to the far side. Time and room, here come the Roses. Cutting back through, oh what a run here. The stiff arm, over and dotted down. What a phenomenal run.
Good job, Roses. Terrific individual effort on display there. She used the stiff arm to her advantage and told them to get off of her as she emphatically dots down the exclamation mark try there to get her team back into this contest.
Back and forth we go, tries aplenty. We've seen some great individual runs. Another right there for Oklahoma. Now the Roses a chance to draw within 6 if they can convert.
This game has been a track meet so far. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're seeing some good passing. We're seeing some decent possession as the kick is made.
Into the teeth of the wind, but not on target. That one curling away from the sticks at the last moment. And it is a 19-point advantage for Houston Athletic.
It is,
excuse me, a 9-point advantage. Math never my strong suit. I will be the first to admit that. 19-10. Sharks over the Roses early in the first half. And you would think this is a end of the first half score, maybe even second half, but furious pace of play.
And no, and it's because of the long runs. I mean, everything's been built around the long run, and after that, we just see terrific individual prowess on display by both sides.
And Justin, this match so different from our first. In our first match, it was all about the packs, the tight five really dictating this. It's been about the backs. They're the ones taking control, having the opportunities. Haven't seen a lot of scrums, haven't seen a lot of that front row and tight five get involved.
You are exactly right. The wingers really putting their stamp on this game early on.
Sharks, well defended. Neither team able to find it. Now finally the Roses, just as I say that, lucky to retain possession.
So they're going to call the knock-on.
The knock-on called. You saw again Sadie Houston. Houston, that outside center, so effective. She has the ball in her hands, green grass in front of her. Very few people are going to catch her.
So the scrum will go to Houston Athletic. This is where they have the advantage. Remember, they pushed them at least a good 5 meters last time. They could have continued on if they wanted to. You don't have to pick up the ball in the scrum. You can let that scrum ride out as long as that ball gets to the very edge, and you can continue to push to your heart's content until it stalls.
Yeah, scrum half has to wait till that ball gets past the back heel of the number 8 before being able to pick it up. Beautiful day in the capital city of the great state of Texas, so pleased you could join us. Temperature just about 75 degrees. Perfect weather, a nice breeze. As we mentioned, keep an eye on that, how that affects these teams, especially for the Roses playing into the wind here in the first half. And now the scrum coming for the Sharks. Quickly taken out. In the hands of their number 8, Lumsden. Lumsden, oh no, going forward, Stefano again. And Stefano, another try for Stefano. My apologies there, just making sure that indeed that was the call. Gina Stefano, the combination of Gina Stefano there as the fly half and Juliana Gardner, the outside or the right wing, those two have just been aces for the Sharks.
Yeah, Stefano running wild through the Oklahoma Roses defense.
You can see the win there. You see the flag behind the Shark set to take the conversion kick, really playing havoc, and Wynn kicking up at the wrong time as that kick is well short. But now back to a 19-point lead. Excuse me, rather that would be a 14-point lead, 24-10. Wind really kicking up here. Beautiful day, so pleased you could join us.
Yeah, I really thought that the wind was going to stay died down for this contest, as it wasn't much of a factor here early on, but now with the gusts picking up again, it looks like it could play a factor later on in this contest. Right now the Roses, they have more questions than answers.
Live from the live music capital of the world, now the epicenter of Lone Star Rugby this week, the 2016 Red River Rugby Conference here in Austin, Texas. The Huns' beautiful rugby facility just east of downtown Austin. Kit McConico, Justin Simmons with you on T5 RDG.
I know the Huns in the paper are over in Australia, of all places, about the moves that they're making here in the game of rugby in the United States.
Yeah, the Huns, one of the original clubs in Austin. They've brought on Todd Clever, former U.S. men's national team captain, and have a partnership with a racing club there in Paris, France as well. I believe they're in Paris. I know they're in France.
Well, they wear the same colors, so it works out well.
They do indeed. Actually, those colors stem from, they had some members down in Argentina in the early 70s. Got some old jerseys from the Pumas side, the national team, brought them back, and hence the sky blue and white.
Look at that. Houston winning another scrum.
Another scrum to the Sharks, quickly taken. Cutting inside. Blair, the fullback, getting involved. Now those centers, the inside center, Morgan Shin, and outside center, Callista Moses.
It was knocked down by Houston. This time it'll be a scrum going in favor of the Roses. And we haven't seen too much of a mishandling the ball, but the passing between these two clubs. Once it gets to the outside, they're pretty sure-handed with their wingers, just like they should be.
Very impressive faces from both sides, really slinging it to the outside very quickly, have some speedsters. An outside center and a wing for both teams can really move, trying to get it into their hands, make something happen.
Houston just too dominant with their pack, and you can see that they were able to push the Roses straight away before they even got the ball in.
Yeah, that front row of Pepper, Brown, and James for the Sharks dominating there, especially the hooker, Chisa Brown. Forcing the Roses back, but another opportunity.
Yeah, they didn't get to feed the ball through.
Milicic, scrum half for the Roses. Waiting to send it in, gets the cue from the referee. Now waiting to get it back again. Now the scrum wheeling around, and there's the whistle. But Justin, just as you said, the Sharks dominating all scrummage situations.
And they're going to get the possession too. As it looks like, I think the referee said that the scrum was brought down.
And collapsing the scrum, I believe, was indeed the call. Now the Sharks, they're just going to go ahead and send that into touch. Will Frazier.
Smart move by the Sharks. They know that they have the more dominant pack right now. They could probably just power it in over the try line. And you really, like we saw in game number 1, you really need to build that lead in the first half because stamina starts to become a factor. And again, if you're going to be running into the win come the second half, you're going to want to make sure you have a cushy lead to work with.
Yeah, Justin, to that point, the first match between Euless Texans and the San Marcos Grays, we saw fatigue, what a huge factor it was. But if you get momentum on your side, as the Sharks have right now, if you're winning, if you're taking control, that fatigue, not as certainly not as much of a factor. We will see how that affects these teams in the second half as this match progresses. So far, it has been 1,000 miles a minute from the opening kick. In fact, the opening kick brought back by the Sharks. They took it about 60 meters for their first try. All that pass hanging in the air. And it's one of those hospital passes. Oh, quickly, beautiful touch, Gardner. What a pass that time from Stefano to Gardner. We mentioned that combination. The fly half Stefano, the right wing Gardner, another hookup between those two, another try for the Sharks.
They're just playing on a completely different level. The chemistry between those two is phenomenal. It is there. They know exactly where each one of the two need to be at every game, at any given situation. But you have to give credit to the whole Houston team on that go-around. They won the line out. They worked it over to the far side of the pitch. They almost lost the ball. They were able to get possession back, what could have been a knock-on, so they had played it smartly. They knew that they needed some more room to work with. They came back to the near side, and then it was the two-man game for the finish.
Conversion up and through. Beautifully struck by Frazier. Houston taking full control in this one on top. 31-10, the Sharks over the Oklahoma Roses. Again, so pleased you could join us on our T5RDG YouTube channel, bringing you the best rugby in the state of Texas, men's and women's. The game exploding. So many young men and women finding this fantastic sport. They're really finding the family that rugby provides, something you and I had the opportunity to speak with some of the Huns board members between matches, and talking about traveling around the world, being put up wherever you are. Just such a great family, the world of rugby.
Yeah, we got to talk to the Huns president, Richard Osborne, and it's not just the great product that you see here on the
Here
field.
to the near side, moving quickly, Jessica Rosa tried to cut it back in, may have been better served to try to find it down the sideline.
But of course also about the social aspects off of the pitch as well.
Jordan unable to hold on, the Sharks back with it, and well taken, kick over the top.
Geez, great ruck by the Sharks to get possession back.
Campbell unable to field it cleanly, now eventually puts a boot to it. Back and forth it goes, able to shake off the first tackle was Griffin.
She's still not down.
Griffin finally brought down, now the ruck ensues. Thought about sending it over the top and then just put it in the hands of James.
Oh, look at the
Stefano.
prop go.
Oh, look at big James. Beautiful work bowling forward, but ultimately losing possession.
You saw I was a little upset there. I tried not to play favorites or anything, but when you see one in the forward line get it, you want them to try to rumble down there and score because it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, anytime you see one of those props or the hooker with it, that is cause for celebration, especially if they're able to bring it over for the try. Mentioned the combination between Stefano and Gardner for the Sharks as that is sent into touch by the Roses. 18 years combined rugby playing experience for those two. That's pretty amazing.
I think that shows. I mean, there are so many little nuances to this game that you don't really see on your screen just because you sat down and watched it. There's a lot of little things going on, little things that you can do. There's a lot of creativity when it comes to the passing, and I don't think that gets explored enough or gets talked about when you talk about the rugby as a whole. You think about the roughness, the courage, the stamina, you think about those things, but there's a lot of creativity found when you're running through those lines.
Yeah, Stefano, the fly half, 29 years old, has been playing in this game since she was 18. You mentioned the nuances, the little things you pick up. Such an intricate sport. People new to it, just they see the ruck, they see the scrum, and the big tackles, the big hits. It really takes so long to start to appreciate those nuances, the little bit, the phases, the passing, the decision-making on the fly. Back to Stefano.
And we might see a little bit here as he tried to work out that face. Beautiful.
Sharks. Stefano again shows her speed. Stefano, no one will catch her. Nothing but green grass. Dots it down again. Does Gina Stefano. She is absolutely unstoppable. The Sharks with another try for Houston Athletic.
Just in case you don't watch rugby, the closest thing I can attribute their passing is to basketball, like a three-man weave, and you saw it perfected there as they were able to shuttle the ball one right after the other. Every time the defender tried to close down, it was another offload pass. They finally found some space, and Stefano, with her speed, there was just no doubt about it. Nobody was going to catch her, and she, once again, she has definitely put her stamp on this game as she scores one more time.
Sharks looking to add two more via the conversion. Able to do just that. Well taken, well struck. And the Sharks in firm control is Houston Athletic over the Oklahoma Roses. It was tight early on, both teams exchanging to try to start things off, but ever since, it has been the ladies in white, navy, and red.
Yeah, teams haven't had much luck going against the wind this afternoon prior to the game that we saw, and then the 7th game in between A&M and UT. Not a lot of scoring going in this direction.
Now a 28-point lead for the Sharks as they lead 38-10. And Justin, we'll have to keep an eye on that to see if the fortunes of the Roses change in the second half with the wind at their back.
There's James again.
James pressing forward is
still
the
going.
tight head prop. James on her feet.
Look at that.
Far
using
side,
the stiff
James
arm.
yet to be brought down. Offloads it. And pressed out of play. What a run from the tight head prop. Nicole James.
Not supposed to be able to rumble. Well, I understand you can rumble for a few meters, but not as far as she did. And she was fighting off two tacklers at the same time. She was dragging one with her while trying to stiff arm another one off her. And you notice that she wasn't greedy. She still tried to make the offload pass at the right moment, and it just didn't work out. But you heard the fans, though. They were they were just cheering her on, really wanting her to go over the try line.
James, the 27-year-old, another former Texas A&M Aggie from Dublin, Texas, not to be confused with Dublin, Ireland.
The home of Dr. Pepper?
That is right indeed, my friend, the real Dr. Pepper. All of you Lone Star State natives know that.
None of that Mr. Pibb.
Hey, Dr. Pepper didn't go through
7 years of
exactly
medical school to be called
just
Mr.
to be called Mr. I appreciate that one. Justin Simmons, Kit McConico with you, and the Sharks looking for more. Sharks 38 points. Can they put another 5?
Oh, the whistle was blown before the offload pass.
Yeah, Gardner found herself with it again. Gardner, that right wing, she is just making a meal of the Roses defense, but that time, as you mentioned, a whistle blown before the pass was sent her way and a scrum coming.
Yeah, but even in this scrum situation, it doesn't really favor the Roses. We've seen that forward pack just dominate these scrums from Houston Athletic.
Yeah, certainly some size on that. That front row really dominating, pressing forward, taking control of the scrummage.
Scrum's turning.
And it wheels around, but what a tackle there. We'll see if they get over. Do the Sharks? No signal yet. Absolute massive collision there right at the try line, but no signal.
After seeing that, Kit. That one looked like it hurt bad.
We'll get you some ice between games, don't worry.
It's tough to say if they score from this angle sometimes because they're so used to scoring at this point that they stop celebrating. They just take it as professional, but no, we're going to have a scrum right here.
Just another day at the office for Houston Athletic, looking to put another 5 on the board. Another scrum for the Sharks.
They're able to get the pass out. They're trying to make another.
Applewhite sends it, offloaded, busting through at the line, but not over. Back it goes, now Gardner with it. Bit of a stutter step, taken down, beautiful tackle. Still with the Sharks, still shy of the try line. And kicked out. Not very far. Stefano finds herself with it, spins away.
That was desperation defense at its finest by the Roses to clear that ball.
Yeah, Livingston, the number 8, thought she had Stefano wrapped up, and Stefano with a little spin move right there in the hole. Seen some very impressive play. You mentioned the team aspect of it, the phases, the passing, phenomenal, but individually as well. I mean, Stefano, I don't think you could tackle her in a phone booth.
No, Stefano, she is shifty, but more importantly, just that speed. Once she gets past you, you're not going to be able to catch her. And she's also very good at making her passes. She's in the right position at the right times, and it's been her, along with Juliana Gardner, who have been probably the standouts here for this Houston Athletic Club.
Another scrum now for the Roses as they have it. Oh, a bit of time and room, able to sidestep that first defender.
But there was nobody there to help her on the ruck, and now they lose possession. That's what the Roses needed, was just to hold on to it.
And here come the Sharks again. Justin, you were exactly right. Roses thought they may have something going, but no one there to help with the ruck for the ladies in red and white.
And that's the issue sometimes in this game. You'll get some space, and you want to take it into that space, but if you don't have anybody there to help you and protect the ball, you're just running into enemy territory and just basically giving up possession.
Under 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Houston Athletic leading 38-10 over the Oklahoma Roses. Live from Austin, Texas, here at beautiful Huns Rugby facility and just east of downtown Austin. So much to do. Everyone out enjoying themselves pre and post match, as is the case with rugby. We mentioned such a family atmosphere. The kids out here, the parents, everyone enjoying the beautiful weather.
A few moms out here during Mother's Day weekend, Mother's Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Some of the celebrations starting today, rightfully so.
Absolutely. It is
you see,
well deserved. And here come the Roses. Can they get something going the other way? Cut the deficit before half, and just as we say that,
they got to hang on to the ball.
Misplayed, but retained possession does Oklahoma. Still with it.
It goes into touch.
And into touch, unable to keep it between the white lines.
I have to admit, I was very impressed with what Oklahoma was able to put together there, as they have not been able to win the scrums easily today, and even though they won that scrum, they were still getting pushed back. But still, to get some positive yardage out of that, they can build on this. just got to settle down a little bit and try to keep possession a little bit more. Try to get on the same page. They look a little disorganized as a unit right now.
A line out, mishandled. Sharks had it initially, but another quick whistle. You see the action going on in field number 2 behind our match, the men in action. We have simultaneous games going on, 6 matches in all being played today. And those matches on field 2 mean broadcast. We will have those for you later on T5RDG.
Talking about field 2, the ball from field 2 entering play here in field 1.
They will send it right back to the gents on the far side. Grant Cole, Tom Wilkes doing the play-by-play and color commentary of those matches.
You know, that's an interesting thing I don't think a lot of our viewers will know is that a lot of these clubs are unisex, so they're both men and women's clubs.
Yeah, rugby is an equal opportunity sport. One of the great things about it is if you're willing to put your body on the line, play as hard as these men and women are, gender does not matter. It is all about what you can do as Houston finds herself with it.
She has that
Sadie
speed.
Houston tries to cut it back, stiff arm and brought down by Stefano.
She tried to make another pass when she was on the ground, and she should have just waited for the ruck. Lots of physical play there, kid, and that's what I like about this game. You can see, even though we're getting towards the end of this first half, the stamina is not an issue with these clubs.
No, we have seen no fatigue. It is playing as hard and as fast as we were in the first minute. Just minutes, if not seconds away from that halftime whistle, as we will scrum it up right in front of us here on the near side.
Again, scrums favoring Houston Athletic.
Yeah, that front line of Burns, Mover, and gone for the Roses, Pepper, Brown, and James for the Sharks, and that Sharks front line has been dominant in these situations.
Of course, look for them to get it to Gina Stefano.
Back it goes, out to Applewhite, quickly sends it. Oh, misplayed, but Stefano there yet again. Stefano, time and room, nothing but green grass in front of number 10. And what else but a, we'll see, did she get over?
She did now.
Indeed she did. Stefano drug down just shy of the try line, but able to get over to dot it down. Another try for Gina Stefano. That has been the story of the first half.
The kit that wasn't even supposed to happen. You saw the phasing of that play start to develop, and it was a mishandled pass that she just happened to be making the overlap run, right place, right time, great instincts to make the grab, and then she found the hole, the seam if you will, and just ran it right up the middle. Her pace just too much to overcome, and another try.
Well, that came off the hand of Melissa Shin, the inside center.
Yeah, I know, but Stefano was like, don't worry about it.
Excuse me, Morgan Shin, rather, as the conversion is up and through. So Morgan Shin, the pass a bit behind her, they kind of came off her shoulder, and Stefano says, I'm here, I might as well take it. I'm going to go 40 meters and dot it down for another 5. Gina Stefano, unstoppable for the Sharks, and now a 35-point lead for Houston Athletic as they're on top, 45-10.
I don't know what her regiment was before today's game, but after the way she has started it off, I think she might want to continue that regiment.
Yes, we
for
mentioned
future games.
29-year-old, native of Houston, landman by profession, like a lot of our friends in the oil and gas business.
Well, if you went to Texas A&M, you're either going to work in agriculture as an engineer, or you're probably going to work in the oil business. So it does make perfect sense.
Well, Stefano.
But if you went to A&M, you probably get stuck like me sometimes, and you end up in the media business, right?
Indeed. Stefano's been covering some land. He's been covering a lot of ground here today.
She's been all over the pitch with the ball in her hand.
Always in the right place at the right time, and a lot of times that's the signal of a great player. They just know where to be.
I know the score is a little one-sided right now, but if you're the Roses, remember, you can always work your way back into this contest. We have seen it happen.
Our first match, San Marcos led 20-0 at the half. Euless Texans ultimately came up victorious 26-20 as they scored all 26 points in the second half. So certainly may see something like that. And you've got to think for the Roses playing into the teeth of the wind here in the first half, that's affected them.
Oh, great defense one more time. And yes, I will have to agree with you there, but the defense from Houston also playing a factor as well, as he kept on pushing them back every time they had some positive yardage gain. If you're the Roses, you're going to have to try to funnel them in, maybe try to keep things true with your forward pack, and then try to make that big outlet pass to where there's some more space to work with and get to your wingers.
And we've talked a lot about that front row for Houston, but equally impressive, those loose forwards. They've done a very good job, especially defending. They've not let any open space, have plugged those holes.
And it looks like this will go against the Roses, and it does.
Houston quickly restarting things, moving forward.
It's the big prop again.
James, the big loose tight head prop, going forward. James offloads Stefano. Unselfish. Great play there from Gina Stefano. She probably could have brought it in herself, elected to offload it to a teammate. Another try for the Sharks.
But did you see the pass from James? They don't teach that at rugby practice. I remember Coach Johnny would always get upset if I tried to make that one-handed pass, but it worked out there for her as she was able to fling it across her body with one hand to Stefano. Stefano, like you mentioned, she could have probably been a little bit more greedy. Got another try to add to her stat total. Instead, spreading the wealth around, and another terrific try. A true team effort there on display by Houston Athletic.
Frazier set to take the conversion, the former Ohio Wesleyan player. Unable to convert was Frazier, and that will do it for the first 40 minutes. 40 minutes in the book. What a first half it was here at the Huns Rugby facility in Austin, Texas. A beautiful day, a phenomenal first half. Justin, your assessment of this first 40 minutes?
Well, I think it's a little easy to say that it's been all Houston all the time. And don't get me wrong, I mean, Oklahoma has had their chances. They have been making some headway through when it comes to positive yardage, but just being able to hang on to the ball, they have been at such a disadvantage, though, Kit, because they have not been able to win a scrum with ease. Rucking has been an issue, especially for Oklahoma. They don't have the players and support. And Houston, they have just sat at home. They have been where they needed to be, and then just the individual talent on display from ladies like Juliana Gardner and, of course, Gina Stefano. They have really put their stamp on this contest, and that's why their team is ahead by the amount of points that they are.
Yeah, it's been the Gina Stefano show here in the first half. Sharks with a 40-point lead over the Roses at half. We will take a break. Second half coming up next right here on the T5RDG YouTube channel. Beautiful day in Austin, Texas. Second half coming up right after this. Very good, and now an opportunity. On it goes. Oh, what a tackle there.
There you go.
Jordan unable to hold on. Houston had it momentarily. Now on to the fullback, Campbell. Campbell here to the near side. Able to keep it in play. Milicic, quickly out it goes. Oh, big tackle there. Well done by Frazier. Frazier, the lock. She's been all over, as has the blindside forward, Denise Sherba.
Well, Houston was able to get back to the ball, but then it looks like they might have knocked it on. And we will have a scrum.
A good look at the packs again, and certainly a size and weight advantage. Such a big deal in these situations for the Sharks as they get ready to engage. All about keeping those head and heels in line, back straight.
You know, Kit, I have to start to wonder, do the Roses have a player capable of kicking the ball deep? Because they have succeeded, even though they have the penalty in their favor, they have been succeeding to scrums. And unfortunately for them, it hasn't really been their strong suit against this Houston club. And we see it again.
Down momentarily. Milicic waiting for it to come past the heel of the number 8. Eventually comes out, does the ball, and the Roses put a boot to it, sending it down the pitch.
And Kit, we got a player down over here on this near side, and she's in obvious pain. She's holding on to that brace knee.
Yeah, Blair, the fullback, able to come down with it, but as you mentioned, one of the Roses down on the pitch.
The play does continue on. That's how it is in this game until we see a stoppage in play.
Being attended to by a teammate. Play continues on the far side. Roses near the midfield line. Can they get over?
Technically speaking, the Roses playing 2 men down at the moment because of the injury and then the player tending to her. But right now, this has probably been some of the best phases that they had in this contest. And as soon as I say that,
and here come the Sharks the other way. Time and room, nothing but green grass and fresh air. Dotted down, another try for the Sharks. That player down for the Roses. That was the number 8. Ashley Livingston. Livingston got up momentarily, now back on the pitch. Another try for the Sharks. Everything going in favor of the ladies from H-Town. A conversion opportunity here. Denise Sherba. She's been doing this all day. The training staff coming out to take a look at Livingston.
Livingston, you can see she's tough. She's really trying to walk it off at least, or at least try to leave the field under her own power, but she just collapsed back down when she tried to get up the initial time.
What a rugby resume from Denise Sherba. Sherba, the former University of Michigan Wolverine. Played for the Wolverine club there, also the Ann Arbor Women's Rugby Club. Has been with the Sharks since 2013.
Well, that's just the thing about the game. You basically, wherever you may go in any part of the world, you will find a rugby club, and you can just tell them that you played, and they'll find a spot for you somewhere. As long as you pay your dues and you have fun and add to the atmosphere, you're always a welcome participant.
Yeah, to your point, we spoke with Richard Osborne between games of the Austin Huns, our host, and our big thanks to them for being a phenomenal host, saying that he'd been to Bermuda, South America, South Africa, the Netherlands, and everywhere he went, they were welcomed by rugby clubs, given free room and board, and not that you will always be treated so well, but it certainly is a community. It's a global community. It's a family in every sense of the word. When I look out here and I see the children, the parents, the grandparents, everyone enjoying the action this weekend. Taken by the Sharks. 47-point lead for Houston. 57-10 our scoreline early in the second half. The question is, can Houston Athletic break 100? There's that big tight head prop again, Nicole James. Actually, I believe that was the loose head prop, Chelsea Pepper. So used to James carrying the ball in emphatic fashion, just assumed it was her. My apologies.
I think Peppers just got tired of you saying James's name the whole time. They had a really nice phase connected there.
What a combination, the two props for Houston. Those two young ladies, Chelsea Pepper and Nicole James, usually your props, and Justin, you know this as a former hooker, they don't see a lot of the ball. They don't carry it. That's not the case for Houston.
Yeah, normally your props are the first people in when you're around the ball trying to form the ruck and then clear the ruck. And instead, Well, I'm assuming with such an advantage on the big scoreboard here for Houston Athletic, they're given a little bit more leeway to try to be creative on the ball. But she was just able to, she ran right through one tackler. You could hear the thud as she bounced off of her, still on her feet, and then was able to take on a couple of more.
Pepper's 7th year as a rugby player, native of Waller, former Austin Valkyrie, and Texas A&M Aggie. Make sure to add that for your benefit, obviously.
And they got some good things going on in College Station. That's
you may not have a quarterback, but I digress. We get back to
That's a completely different sport.
We get back to the task at hand. My non sequitur diverting us from the rugby action. Oh my! And it seems like anytime the Sharks find an inch of space, they are just headed forward. There's no shucking and jiving. There's no juking. It is north-south running, so to speak, for Houston Athletic.
Yeah, they've been able to expose the space that they do get to work with, and they work it well. Good tackle, almost. Spoke a little too soon as she bounced off, and the Rose is finally getting possession back here.
Oh, good tackle. That ball into the hands of Jessica Rosa. Rosa, the left wing, has been good when she's been able to find it, as that ultimately finds itself into touch in the hands of Fisher, the fly half, and now the line out coming. You get a great vantage right in front of us here. Get a look at the line out. And Justin, what are the keys to being successful in these line outs?
Well, it's having a good play call. You want to make sure that you're able to disguise your line out call so the other team doesn't know where you're going to throw the ball. You need a good throw from your hooker most of the time. And, of course, you have to have the perfect jump just like that. Oh. And then you need your lock who goes up and gets it to make a good play sometimes, and she was able to do so there.
Yeah, Frazier, the lock, done nicely. Beautiful throw from Chisa Brown, the hooker. Over the top it goes. Stefano finds the fortuitous bounce. Stefano here to the near side. Offloads it into the hands of Applewhite. Another unselfish play from Stefano results in another Sharks try.
I know Stefano is good, but she got a little lucky there. She was able to kick the ball high in the air. She was trying to chase it down. I don't think those were her initial intention was to try to get underneath it, but then it fell a little short. Again, that spherical-shaped ball, it took an odd bounce, and it bounced right back into her hands as she was in the middle of the sprint. She was able to get in front of the would-be tackler where she made the offloaded pass, and nobody was there to make the stop on Applewhite.
As I said, a fortuitous bounce for Stefano. She does not need any luck, but that time on her side.
Did you say fortuitous? I would have used gratuitous, but
Sherba with the conversion right down the middle. This will be one of the easier ones she has had on the day. No mistake there, Denise Sherba. The blindside flanker sends it right between the sticks, and it is now a 64-10 game in favor of the Sharks of Houston Athletic.
Well, I was trying to think of what do you say to the Roses when you're in this big of a deficit, and honestly, the one thing I can think about if you are Oklahoma is understand where the points are in this game. Try not to worry about that, and just try to regain some focus. Try to get the little things done right. Make sure you get your passes down. Try to form your rucks. Make sure that you have the protection that you need. And just try to slowly work your offense, hoping that it will lead to some points later on in this contest.
Roses have looked good when they've been able to find their left wing, Jessica Rosa. Has some speed, does number 11 in white and red. But she has not seen the ball very often, certainly not here in the second half, as the Sharks just continue to do what they do, sending numbers forward. The ball in the hands of the ladies in white, red, and navy. Around one tackler. No one will catch her, or will they? Does not appear that they will. Finally dotted down in the try zone. Another try, another 5 points for the Sharks. And Justin, we just need to put that on a loop.
That's basically what we have seen, but you have to admit that they've really broken the curse, if you will, of going against the wind this afternoon, as we have seen 2 straight try conversions. Well, 2 straight tries, 1 conversion, another one coming up here by Houston Athletic. And it's just so difficult to see for the Roses because I think they might have been a little overwhelmed by the talent of the front line that Houston has. That forward pack really doing a number on the forward pack again of Oklahoma. They had just been able to put them on their heels when it comes to every scrum. They have overpowered them in every ruck, as you see the kick coming.
Sherba doing her best Dan Carter impersonation, but not between the wickets. Has that kind of very familiar, leans back, has one foot back on the heel, the toes up. Very good Sherba that time into the wind, and she's been able to convert those into the wind in the second half. Not the case that time, but it matters not. It is still a 59-point lead for the Sharks. As they're on top of the Roses, 69-10.
Most importantly, despite the score, you have to give it up for the Roses, though. There's no quit. They've just been, unfortunately, outplayed. But the desire's there. It takes a lot to line up, even at this score line, and just to continue to try to run into what has been a proverbial brick wall.
And my apologies, did not get the number on the try score for the Sharks. May well have been the lock, Marcella Jones, but we will have to get confirmation on that. And here comes Stefano again. Stefano offloads it. Sharks time and room. Can anyone catch the number 8? Lumsden.
Looks like she was stopped just short of the line.
We'll have to see. The whistle blew. Try not signaled. Lumsden in a foot race, but unable to get it down.
You know, the other thing that you have to take into account if you're Houston Athletic, with a score line as big as it is this the time that you start seeing some substitutions being made, and maybe take out some of the starters to prevent some further injury. Or just to give everybody
I believe
some playing
that
time.
Previous try was scored by the outside center, Callista Moses. My apologies there. Never want to assume. We all know what happens in those situations.
So we'll definitely see it on the replay tomorrow after it's all uploaded to the Texas Rugby Union channel.
Absolutely. It'll be all the matches from this week will be on the Texas Rugby YouTube channel. All the matches here from Field 1, as well as the ones from Field 2 across the way, being broadcast by our good friends Tom Wilkes and Grant Cole. Grant and I will have the 3 championship matches tomorrow. As always, presented by T5RDG. Hope you will join us for those. A great way to kick off your Mother's Day festivities. So scrum to the Roses, just at their 5-meter line.
They haven't had much luck when it comes to holding off the forward pack, and you see it again on their heels.
Just pushing forward are the Sharks pack. That one high. Fielded, bobbled initially, but eventually brought down by Harrell.
The Roses needed a better clearance into touch than that, and now Houston's going to make them pay.
Sherba still on her feet, offloads it, not to the target she was looking for, and the whistle blows. Right now, all about pride for the Roses, trailing by 59 points.
But you can see where the problem stems for the Roses is just that their front line just has no answer for the front pack of Houston Athletic. If they can get it out to their wings with a little more consistency, maybe they can start to make up some ground. Obviously, I don't foresee them coming back into this contest by making an equalizer, but I do see them being able to lead to a couple of tries.
Yeah, the scrum has been dominant. That tight 5 of Pepper, Brown, James, Frazier, and Jones. For the Sharks, they have been bossing every scrummage. Another example here. Back it goes.
And
Sent to the near side. Harrell there, able to field it off the hands, and into touch it goes.
Again,
Jacqueline Harrell, number 23, unhappy.
Sorry about that, kid. Again, the kick not having the distance that was necessary for the proper clearance. And Harrell, if she's a little more sure-handed back there, you could see Houston really being able to, I guess you want to say the word, really being able to come back on the counter. Really, I'm sorry, man, I lost the word there. But really able to try to make a play on the counter attack if she was able to hold on to that ball.
Now a change as the Sharks will bring off Chisa Brown. Brown, their hooker, has been absolutely fantastic as the native Houstonian. So they will make a change in that dominant pack. believe it'll be Sally Buckner coming on in her stead. No, actually, Buckner already out there as the
So it's going to be Pepper who moves over.
loose head prop. So, as you said, Pepper now moving to the hooker. She'll be up front. Buckner now playing the loose head prop.
We have another substitution being made as well.
So changes coming fast and furious, as you might imagine, with a 59-point lead.
Got to get that tight bind there. And no, you are correct the first time. It is Buckner here as the new hooker. I don't think there will be much drop-off, though, in performance of the front
crouch bind orders from our referee. Applewhite quickly into the hands of Stefano. Back to Stefano. No one will catch Gina Stefano. Dots it down right over the line. Gina Stefano, we have said it time and time again, absolutely putting on a clinic this afternoon is the fly half.
Just on a completely different level out there. And she makes it look so effortless. She is able to find the seam. She uses the seam to her advantage. And then I swear she did at least one or two dummy passes while running with the football. And we might actually have a replay of that.
Now the Michigan native Sherba, as we take a look here. Beautiful work. You saw at the very beginning their dummy pass. The defense cut inside, she cut outside. Nobody is going to catch Gina Stefano in a foot race. Has a conversion from Sherba, up and good. Now a 76-10 scoreline. Sharks on top of the Roses.
And for sure that curse of going into the win has finally been lifted by Houston Athletic, because they have not had an issue. It doesn't matter which direction they're running in. They just know as long as the try line is there, they're going to try to find it and dot the ball over it.
Yeah, the wind hasn't affected the Sharks. I think the Sharks could be playing 2 or 3 women down, and that would have little effect on them. They are just absolutely firing on all cylinders, is Houston Athletic.
But despite the scoreline, if you're the Roses, you know, you're just looking to try to win back possession and really try to work that ball to your outside. Let your wingers do some work in this contest and try to bring back some pride for your team, because when they do get to the outside, they have looked quite well. Oh, what a big hit. She lost the ball, though, going over as she truck stick 2 would-be tacklers. You can see how the Roses just literally having to peel themselves off the pitch at this point in the game. Just simply out-muscled by a bigger, faster group from Houston.
So to the scrum we go. It will be to the Roses.
But no scrum really has belonged to the Roses, despite it being in their possession. As you have seen that front line go to work. And again, they're getting pushed on their heels by Houston Athletic.
Yeah, that pack of the Sharks taking control as they have in all scrummage situations today.
We see our first real collapse scrum of the game, and
it's been a very cleanly played match, I must say that. I mean, as far as the scrum, everything else, haven't had a lot of whistles. It's been pretty free-flowing.
Yeah, you haven't seen any real collapses, not a lot of wheeling. I always just get a little concerned when you do see the collapse. The scrum does collapse, especially as a former hooker. You know that both your hands are over the shoulder of your teammates, so there's no real way to protect your head when it starts falling down. You are dependent not only on your teammates, but the pressure from the opposite team to keep you balanced, essentially.
Oh, and you said it, the pressure. I mean, half a ton of pressure dependent upon the level. When they engage,
yeah, when you see those scrum caps,
things like it.
When you see those scrum caps on those players, there's a little padding in there, but they're not wearing it for padding. They're wearing it to protect their ears.
Yeah, so many players choose to tape the ears. Some choose to wear the scrum cap. Either way, for the same purpose. Keep those ears firmly affixed to the head. Milicic, fly half, takes it into the hands of Rosa. Rosa, drugged down. Jessica Rosa does the best she can to stay upright, but eventually pulled down.
You know, I actually have a funny story about a scrum cap, surprisingly. We actually had one in high school. I don't know why we had scrum caps, but I remember taking one from high school. I know, kleptomaniac, my bad. I took one. And I was using it to play while I was at A&M, but I didn't like wearing it. And then one of my teammates, Aaron Forden, who was a phenomenal player in his own right, decided to grow his hair out and liked the hat so much that he just started wearing it all the time. And I was like, I never liked it. It would get all sweaty. You couldn't.
That's a good look. You're a fashion-forward kind of guy. Maybe you should wear one of those. Line out coming for the Roses. They get something going. Back, Milicic quickly. Trying to sling it to the far side.
This is what I was talking about right here.
Campbell cutting through. Campbell still on her feet. Campbell evading a tackler at the line. Dots it down. Does Campbell for the try. And the Roses with a much-needed 5 points. Their first of the second half. Savannah Campbell coming up well.
Roses.
There you go.
You can tell that that meant a lot to not just the team, but the fans that came to support them as well. And as well as everybody here. You don't like to see a team get dominated like this, but it is the fighting spirit of the Oklahoma Roses that has led to this try. But Kip, exactly what we were saying throughout most of this contest, if they could get it to their wingers on the outside, let that back line go to work, they could have something going.
Campbell, the try and the conversion for the Odessa native, former University of Oklahoma player. Take a look at it again here. Beautiful replay, cutting back through, had it to the outside. The inside did Campbell, able to stay upright from the final tackle. Great work from our film crew here at T5 RDG. Our hats off to them. They are hardest working crew in the business, bringing us shots like that. But you saw Campbell, a longtime veteran, 10 years as a rugby player. Mentioned the Odessa native from a place where they play a lot of football. And rugby and football have some similarities, but more differences.
Well, I was just about to say, there was a great football player named Emmitt Smith, and he wasn't the biggest or fastest guy, but the thing that led to his Hall of Fame career is the fact that he had vision. Well, you saw the vision on display there, as she could have gone to the outside, but she had noticed at the very last instant where it was starting to collapse on her, she cut it back on the inside where nobody was there, and she was able to score the try.
Good work from Campbell, the conversion to go along with it. Now a 76-17 game. Roses playing for pride at this point. Sharks have been dominant, so dominant in fact they took the opening kickoff back about 40 meters for the first try, and they have not let up since.
Well, we thought we were going to have a much closer game as both teams exchanged scores.
Into touch goes the kick. One thing that I've really found impressive is fatigue hasn't set in for either one of these teams. We haven't seen a slowdown in the pace of play whatsoever.
No, despite the scoreline, both teams still going at about near full speed. Houston Athletic, of course, a little more pep in their step. But after the score of the try, I think you see a little change in the Roses' demeanor.
Line out for the ladies from Norman, Oklahoma. Milicic,
I was going to say, it didn't look like
found herself with it, but I think, I don't know if that throw is down the middle. We'll have to see.
You know, this game is always evolving, kid. I'm not sure if you're familiar with earlier time rugby, but lineouts didn't used to have all this holding guys up and stuff. It used to just be a straight crash in the middle to see who would get the ball, and that was deemed way too dangerous. So that's why the lineout was introduced to the game a few decades ago. One of the more
intricate aspects, as is the scrum. We will see right here. Barbara Blair, see the number 15 on her back, set to put it in.
I'm always just thinking, what's going to be the next change made to the game over time, as all games do. Nice passing on
here to the near side. Good work from the Sharks. Harrell shrugged down. Beautiful tackle from Rosa. Ball on the turf. Stays with Houston Athletic. Offloaded. What a pass here to the near side. Time and room. There goes Blair. No one will catch Barbara Blair. Absolutely outran everyone on the near side. Did number 15 and rewarded with 5 points.
Yeah, that all had to come because of the lack of rucking and support from the Roses. They did have the ball in their possession, but you saw that. Houston Athletic, they had about 5 or 6 players around the ball just waiting to clean up the mess, and then they were able to get it out to Blair, who just simply pulled away from the defense, able to score the try.
Yeah, Blair, the Pearland native there in the greater Houston area, former Austin Valkyries, and yes, Justin, a former Texas A&M Aggie as well.
Hey,
Take
man.
another look here. Great work. Oh, what a pass. Beautifully offloaded right into the path, and that came from Applewhite. Applewhite going to ground, had the wherewithal to find Blair, and Blair did the rest. The conversion up and true by Sherba.
Well, since we're in Austin and the last name Applewhite, there's a guy that used to make some passes around at DKR by that last name there, if you want that UT reference.
Hey, I think Major would have been proud of the job of Courtney right there. That's about pretty a pass as you're going to see in that situation.
And that's the beauty of the game that I mentioned when we started the second half. It's those little passes, those things, you can try to practice them, but you really don't learn them. It's a natural instinct. The more creative you can be with the ball, the more beautiful this game looks.
Another 7 points added to the tally on the far side scoreboard for the Sharks of Houston Athletic. Question is, at this point, can they break 100? 83-17, Sharks on top of the Roses nearing the end of our match. And all of our matches will be available on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, brought to you by T5RDG. Kit McConico, Justin Simmons with you, and don't go anywhere. We will have our third and final match coming up after this. That'll feature Little Rock and the Blacks Division II side, the hometown team. Sure to have some fans in attendance for that one. The Blacks, the 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Division I champion in the inaugural year of that. Congratulations to them and their side. One of the better rugby teams. They were actually the nationwide runner-up last year, was the team from right here in the capital city.
Good tackle there.
Looking to get back in the championship game, cutting through. Roses, they have yet to give up the ghost, continuing to press, and rewarded is Oklahoma.
Yep, and that play starting again from Campbell, as she was the one to get out there first. She was able to hang on the ball, put the ball down after she got tackled, and then the rest of the back line able to do his job with its passing and its rucking this time around to get the try.
Yeah, Savannah Campbell, the fullback, she has been a bright spot for Oklahoma, certainly recently. She has speed, has vision. We take another look. Campbell goes to ground, offloads it, finds a teammate, and able to cut through was Meredith Jordan, the inside center. But credit Campbell, had the wherewithal, smart enough to put that to Meredith MJ Jordan, the inside center.
It was just a good play by her. Sometimes players try to shake and bake a little too much with the ball, but she just took one step in one direction and then went into the opposite direction with the next step, and that was enough to cut the defense.
Rose is unable to connect with the conversion, low and not through. MJ Jordan, the inside center for the Roses. One of the more interesting professions. We're lucky enough that we get some professions, get some interesting information on these players. Jordan is a dog handler for the United States Air Force.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
I never actually even thought about it. It's like, yes, they have to train the dogs just in case they ever need them.
Oh, it's a very important job. Ty Terrazone, the captain of the Austin Blacks Division I squad, former F-15 pilot. As you mentioned, doctors, lawyers, pilots, dentists,
Servicemen,
servicewomen, landmen, everyone of every profession involved in rugby. Such a great game.
Everybody has a story of how they first started playing. I think that's always the coolest part.
Into touch goes the kick.
But not way out there, but much closer over here.
And they're going to say that is going to be right in front of us here in our booth. So a good vantage point for this line out. Final minutes, maybe final seconds of this match. 83-22. The Roses trail the Sharks.
Well, like we said before, when they exchanged opening tries, we really thought we were getting ready for a shootout, but Houston Athletic just imposed their will on this game, and Sharks just ran away with it after that. Front line, the front pack, they got the ball rolling, so to speak, and then it has been their superstars in Gardner.
Buckner, the loose head prop, sends it in. Former Furman University Paladin. Good rugby played there in South Carolina as well to the far side. Roses, they've found a bit of a life here at the end of this one. And just as I say that, back with the Sharks. Got to give all credit, obviously, to the Sharks. They've been dominant, but Oklahoma, they've never given up. They've continued to press, continued to work, even with the scoreline very lopsided against them. They've never, ever hung their heads. They've continued to do everything, and to that, you've got to be very impressed.
And you're not just playing for today. You're also playing for the next time you get ready to play. You're practicing in a game situation what you want to do next time you get on the pitch, so you don't have this type of scoreline when you get ready to play again.
Yeah, the game of rugby, as we mentioned, exploding, one of the fastest growing sports in the country, and for good reason. It is fast, it is intense, everything you want to see. Oh, beautiful pass. Houston on to Rosa. Rosa, the big stiff arm, but Harrell sticks with it. Ball stays with the Roses. Now MJ Jordan, former try scorer.
And that one just taken away straight off of the ground. Good job by Houston Athletic and their 8-man in Livingston.
Yeah,
actually,
Livingston. Yeah, Ludmondson, looking at the Roses roster. They're number 8, and number 8 for Houston, Simone Lumsden.
I'm not sure if that's going to be hands in the ruck. As it looks like exactly what that was.
Yeah, Blair.
You can just see the bodies laid astrew.
Tried to get that one out.
Let's go, Roses!
And it's like 4 Roses players having to get helped off as opposed to just 2 Houston Athletic players. And
now coming over to check on MJ Jordan here on the near side. Jordan took a knock on the head as her teammate Sadie Houston checking to make sure she knows where she is, what the date is, all the pertinent information. She's smart, asking her for social security, bank account numbers, things of that nature.
I can imagine as a younger adult, I imagine there's not too much to take. At least if you try to steal my stuff, there isn't too much, that's for sure.
We're certainly
but you know, that's the thing about the game of rugby, though. It's the tackling. I know people freak out because they say, well, it's kind of crazy. Why would you play such a game when you're wearing no padding like you do in American football? And while that is true, the tackling is much safer in this game because of the way you do tackle.
Well, you're exactly right. And to your point, you don't see the CTE. You don't have the issues, the concussion issues. Not that there aren't concussions, but not nearly as numerous, not nearly as severe as in football. In football, because of the pads and more specifically the helmet, they're used as a weapon. You have those helmet-to-helmet, those head-to-head contacts, those huge collisions that you don't have in rugby. Much safer tackling, much more by the book.
Well, the other thing, too, is that you're not just launching yourself into the neck and shoulder area of the opposing player. You actually have to go to ground if you're going to lay a big hit. You have to make that wrap and go to ground with them.
Yeah, to be perfectly frank, young football players, they'd be well served to play rugby, at least to watch rugby and see the tackling technique. It would serve them very well in football. It forces them to be a better tackler.
Even you just play touch rugby, just the elusiveness that you would learn would be detrimental. Pay big dividends for any other sport that you want to pick up and play.
Almost 90% of the first-round NFL draft picks were multiple sport athletes in high school. So young athletes out there, don't concentrate on one sport. Play as many as you can, and I don't know if any of them will serve you as well as rugby will. Roses, Milicic, sent quickly. Casey that time got a hand to it.
It's right back into the hands of Houston.
And just as quickly, the Sharks find themselves back with it. It looks like any time that there are a few passes strung together by the Roses, the Sharks find a way to get possession right back.
Great way to keep control. But look at that ruck, though. That might be called for diving into the ruck, and that will be the case. And this will go against the Roses.
Quick restart. Sharks
a little too quick.
Trying to catch the Roses off guard, but as you said, a bit too quick there for our referee's liking.
And I have to admit, Houston could have taken their foot off the gas a long time ago, but that's not how they're playing.
No, Sherba sends that into touch.
From the opening whistle to what I imagine will be the end here soon, they have continued to play at a blistering physical pace.
83-22. Roses trail the Sharks. Don't forget, we will have coming up next, it'll be Little Rock and the Austin Blacks D2 squads. So make sure you stick with us. All the action from this weekend available on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel. So please, you could join us. Happy Mother's Day. We will have 3 more matches tomorrow on Mother's Day for you. Grant Cole and I bringing you all the action here from the capital city of the great state of Texas, live music capital of the world, and for this weekend, the rugby epicenter of the Lone Star State.
And so it looks like Patricia Stratton
So Stratton
was able to get over the line again.
So Stratton able to dot that one down. Wasn't quite sure, but now our referee is going to check here to the near side, and indeed the confirmation made. So Stratton with the try. No.
Did you say she was short?
Indeed she is. Ball in the hands of Milicic, the fly half.
So this is going to be a scrum right here about 5 meters out.
So scrum at the 5-meter line for the Roses of Oklahoma. Well, you always have to check. I must say we've had very good officiating today. In all of the matches we've seen, the officials have done a good job. If there's been any question whatsoever, they've stopped, they've conferred, they've made sure that the call has been correct, as they did right there.
Communication has been good between the touchline official and the official in the middle of the pitch. That's for sure.
Yeah, that time our referee going out to confer with the touchline official.
But you know, anybody can become a referee if you take the proper steps. And
always need new referees.
Yeah, so if you just look at the Texas Rugby Union website, if you're interested in the game, you can always check them out, and you can learn the steps to becoming a referee. There's different levels, and the better that you get, the bigger the game that you can work. But they're always needed at every level. I know that the Ruggers appreciate them. Plus, I would rather be a rugby referee than a soccer referee any day, because at least you'll get some respect, you know?
Rugby is all about respect. Back it goes, boot to it. Sent back, Harrell ultimately taking it off the bounce.
See what Jack can do here.
Harrell cutting through, drug down Hall, what a tackle.
Well, Harrell, though, nicely able to break through 3 tackles.
Swing back into the hands of James. James offloads it. Another try.
Right underneath the post.
Right underneath, conversion. Well, they're never easy when you have the wind in your face, but this one will be one of the easier ones of the afternoon for Sherba.
But again, Houston Athletic just showing no mercy.
Now the Sharks continuing to press.
And that's not a disrespectful move. They're simply just playing the game as it comes to them. Harold made a great run, and after the phases after that, it led to a nice try.
That was Nicole James. James, that tight head prop. We take another look here. You see Harold fielding the kick. Harold doing a great job, as you said. Good IQ there. Immediately able to get the ball out to the far side. It goes, and James rumbling underneath the post. Did the tight head prop Nicole James. Conversion good for the Sharks. Sharks may well indeed reach 100 this afternoon, 90-22. No, they will not have the opportunity. Final whistle blows, and that is your final score from our match. Houston Athletic Sharks 90, Oklahoma Roses 22.
If you're looking for some post-game
not a lot you can say about that. You've got to credit both squads. It was very entertaining from the opening whistle. The Sharks took control, the more dominant side. Certainly the scrum helped them.
Well, first, let's give the praise to the Roses. Look, they showed up, they played the entire 80 minutes, they did not stop, and they continued to play hard through at the very end. But then you have to give the big credit to Houston Athletic. Look, they came in, they were the more technical side. Their players, I'm not going to say they were in better shape, but they definitely didn't look like they got tired. And then their star players, their superstars, in Juliana Gardner, and of course the lady from Texas A&M, Gina Stefano. I mean, they just ran wild all over what would have been the defense of the Roses.
Yeah, what a game it was from Stefano. The fly half absolutely fantastic. Our final from Austin, 90-22. Roses fall to the Sharks. Stick with us. Coming up next, it will be a men's Division II matchup featuring the Austin Blacks in Little Rock. For Justin Simmons, I'm Kit McConico. We will be back momentarily here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube page, presented as always by T5RDG. Final, Sharks over the Roses, 90-22.